Today I'm going to install a keyed toggle switch into a PC case to replace the power button. First thing we want to do, figure out where we want to drill the hole. And I have my doubts about that working on plastic pieces. So it's better to install this like on the side of a case or the top of a metal frame case if you have the option. But since this piece will be the only piece facing, because it's going in an entertainment center, so this will be like, you know, facing outwards, laid on its side. Thankfully, there is actually a metal piece on the front of this case, which is this metal screen material. So I'm thinking I'll just drill right through here. We'll use the lock and key on this metal. If I were to install it on the plastic, I have a feeling that eventually the plastic would snap, you know, from use or something like that, and then this will just have a huge cracked hole in it. So that's the plan. I'm not sure if all of you are familiar with front panels of a PC. Your power button, reset switch, hard drive activity indicator, power LED, USB, microphone, and audio. So that's where all of these go to. And our switch, we want to install it about right here. And generally, they have these that connect to the motherboard. And this one just so happens to be the reset switch. Actually, what I think I'm going to do is find the power, which is here. So that is going to be this yellow for the power lead. That's a nice long lead that will reach the motherboard. What do you know, it's just a tiny little micro button for electronics. That center piece is what actually presses on the button inside of there. Yep, nope, there we go. Look at that. Okay, well that was fairly easy. If it's not as easy like this for you, I have a suggestion. You can pick up a pack of these dupont wires. These are called dupont wires, which have your standard PC connector. These are also good for breadboarding, Arduino, Raspberry Pi kind of thing. And I purchased the set that has female to female, male to female, and male to male. This way I can attach them and elongate them, you know, as long as I need. Of course, you would just tear off the one that you need to work with, kind of thing. And I'm happy that they all came in this nice ribbon that is easy to store and organize. That way I don't have to go around chasing wires everywhere. But in this case, I don't have to use this. I will be using the existing button instead. Basically, all I have to do is snip this off, and I'll have this nice long cable to work with. This is a 2-prong toggle switch. Whenever you see 2-prong anything, it means it's just continuity. Let's say a signal goes in here this way, and as soon as the switch is flipped, electricity will go out. All I have to do is snip off the leads here and solder one lead to each end here. And then I'll just plug that right back into the motherboard, mount that in the case, and away we go. Let's drill the hole first. This switch did not come with any directions at all. I just received the switch and the key. They assume that you know what you're doing with electronics. First I will drill a pilot hole. Alright, well, 5/8 it is. Not big enough. I think 3/4 is too big. There we go. Well, that's not working out too well. It's just spinning. When I turn the key, it's just spinning because it doesn't have enough to grab onto. Deep well socket's coming in handy here. Nice. That is nice and tight now. So if I push in and turn, and I can't actually force it to turn, so that's good. Calling that good. Unless this has a plus and minus on it that you want to keep, but it doesn't really matter because it's just a continuity. Okay, it's just a switch, so I don't think it really matters. Now I'm going to strip these. This is really thin gauge stuff. My soldering iron, turn that on. The max is about 450. I usually do about 400, 425. And I got a really nice spool of solder. I want to say this is like 60-40 Hester. So it's got 60% tin and like 40% lead. I've already wet my sponge. I went out and purposefully bought something that had a really fine tip so I could do small electronics with it. So you just take this and when it gets hot enough, you just dip this in. You can see it's actually got like flux and stuff in there. It turns into a liquid. All this powder will turn into a liquid. That's really cool stuff. I've got a little bit of junk in there. Now look at it. How neat is that? Because I'll just dip the ends of the wires right into the flux. Get a little bit on there. Kind of like that. I'm going to get my solder on here. That's really hot. That's way too hot. Bring it down to like 400. I'll just wait till there's a nice glob on there. And bam, look at that. So now I have nice hard tinned wires. Now these things were like cones. They had like a space, a funnel. So I'm filling that funnel with solder. Now all I have to do is stick my leads down into the solder. I'm going to try and heat up the solder first. Okay, and there's one. And there's two. And again, polarity doesn't matter which wire is which. However, on your motherboard, if it does specify which way, generally, if you put it in and you turn the switch and it doesn't work, all you have to do is flip it the other way and put that right back on your motherboard header pin. And that should work. And you won't cause any harm if you do it, the wrong way. The computer just won't turn on. But I'm pretty sure that it will turn on in either direction for this type of switch. So let's go try it out. I had to move the SSD up one slot. It was sitting here, but this is where the power switch is going to go in. So just moved it up one slot, no big deal. All the wires are going to route underneath of here. All the header wires now. Kind of see how that's going to sit in there now. So I think that's going to work. I also added this sound deadening material over here. Same kind of that you use in vehicles. So here's the side case. And this is on the back side. Now unfortunately, this side of the case does not have a beveled edge for cable management, which I would have really preferred. As you can see, there's almost no space. If you know PC cases, there's almost no space on a regular side case. And this stuff is really, really thick. I got the extra thick stuff. That was a mistake, because when I go to try and close this side of the case, it does not want to close. I have to really force it. But that's on the back side of the case. I also plan on putting it up here. As you can see, there's sound just reverberates right through this, and the hard drive is pretty loud. So I don't want to, I want to try and minimize the sound that's coming out, because this is going in a family room. This is going to be a home theater PC. Cut the pieces out that I want to place on here. So go ahead and just strip that off. Now it will still breathe between these holes. That's a grill. So I don't want to cover the grill. But I do want to try and cover everything else as sound deadening. So that's how that's going to look like. Try and quiet down a PC, a loud PC. Some hard drives are notorious for being loud. They sound like 1980s, really loud hard drives. Well, some hard drive manufacturers haven't learned that people like quiet PCs, and they're still quite loud. However, they've increased their capacity past their competitors, so I'm just putting up with the noise because it's a really large storage hard drive. So, there we go. Ooh, that sounds good, huh? Look at that. Sounds thicker, a little bit heavier duty. Alright, let's go install it. Alright, now we're going to hook up the headers. I always hook up the biggest ones first, they're easiest. Hard drive LED indicator for a family room HTPC. That's going to get annoying, so I'm just going to leave that disconnected. You don't need a hard drive activity light. Pretty much haven't needed those for like a decade. Power LED, yeah, that's kind of useful. Alright, so we're going to test this out. Got this plugged in. There you go, there's power. CPU fan is spinning, exhaust fan is spinning. now let's try to hard shut it down by pushing in, turning the key for 4 or 5 seconds. There you go. There you go. Now the power button doesn't work, a reset button doesn't work. The only way to turn on and off the computer is with the key. Child-proof, basically. And then mom or dad can just hide the keys. How to install a keyed momentary toggle switch for a PC. Cool.